Howdy y'all, Amber here and welcome back to GingerCowgirlsNook. So today I have a tips and tricks video. I am going to teach you how to take a picture that looks like this with a whole bunch of bleed over and turn it into a picture that looks like this. Now I did try to record this video already, but my camera, because I'm recording on my phone, was stupid and lost almost all the footage, so I'm just going to redo it. Okay, so here is the picture that I had colored. Just normal color, not paying attention to really anything, not where the lines are or any of that. And then on this side where I have the lines at, I'm going to show you how I fix that. And this little leaf over here, I'm going to show you how I fix those so that this bleed over does not happen. So, the first thing that I do, no matter what I do, I take a marker from the set that I plan to use, and I do what's called the bleed test. I'm going to show you on this one. So this is what the bleed test is, and I'm going to show you how I do that. So first, most adult markers come with two tips, a nib tip and a chisel tip, or a chisel tip and a brush tip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my marker down with a good amount of pressure and let go. And then I'm going to watch to see how far it goes out. Then I'm going to do it again with a little less pressure. And then I'm going to do it with very little pressure, which is how I tend to color anyways. And as you could see, there is a very, very big difference between the same chisel tip, everything. So then I go and do the same thing with my nib tip or brush tip. Okay, did the exact same thing. Now the reason I do this is one or two reasons. No matter what kind of marker you're using, you're going to have bleed over. Whether it's an alcohol marker, cheap markers, water-based markers, watercolor markers. Oh, I don't know if there's watercolor markers, but basically any type of marker you have, you're going to have bleed over. Now this is what I call the blot test, and I do this because I know that if I'm coloring circles or something like all of these snow, whoops, it went through onto my other page anyways. Oh well, always put a blotting page behind your pictures, you guys. So, that way I know in these little dots how much pressure I'm going to have. So, for this one, I'm just going to do little teeny amounts of pressure. And then for bigger ones like this, I like to do what's called the line method. Now, the line method is good for those of you who don't like lifting up your marker off the paper. And basically all it is you start from one side and you just vary your stroke length to color in area, which I'll also show you over here on something bigger because it'll be easier to see than just these little ones. Oh, here's a good one to show the line method. So I literally just go up and down, up and down, up and down. Now keep in mind I'm pushing very lightly on my marker and I'm keeping it moving constantly. Okay? So that's what I call the line method. The line method is the method that I personally choose if I'm coloring skin tones, because I found that I don't get any, I don't know what you call them. I'm going to call them alcohol lines. So I use alcohol markers. And what an alcohol line is I'll show you up here on this little snowflake. As you can see, I had already colored this and it's dry now. But if I was to go back over and color a different area or over the a part on that area, you'll see that there's going to be a definite line between these two. Now, I also want to avoid that. So, again, line method, keep your marker constantly going. Very, very, very light pressure. And as you can see, there's no bleed over. And again, this is the method that I like to use and I use every time I'm doing skin. Because it assures a very smooth color layout. You don't get bleed over. And there is no alcohol lines, or at least that's what I'm going to call them. Maybe that's not what they're really called, but that's what I'm going to call them. And I'm going to keep an eye on my phone here so I don't lose footage again, because I would be really upset about that. And don't mind this little blue that's coming through. I have a clear plastic sheet under this picture that I usually use to hold in my other. That's usually my blotter page, but I didn't clean it before I started to do this tutorial, so it's not good. Again, using the line method, keep your pen going constantly. Very light pressure. That is method 1, or tip 1, to control bleed over. And I have a couple for y'all, so stay tuned. And if y'all like this style of video, where it's like a tips and tricks video or a how-to video, please let me know down in the comment section. That way I know kind of what you guys are wanting to see, and I can make more videos like this. And you can do the line method with the chisel tip here. I'll show you here. If you guys know me, I'm not a very big chisel tip fan. Because I find them kind of hard to control, but I keep practicing with them in hopes that I'll get much better at them, because in videos, I prefer the nib tips or the brush tips, but in videos, depending on what you're coloring, those could take a really, really long time to do in that kind of style. And I don't, I want to be mindful of your time and my time, so I don't want to keep you here, for 2, 3, 4 hour long video, because I know some of you might like videos like that, and I know some of you creators enjoy creating videos like that. I personally don't like watching 4 or 5 hour long videos. I've tried to make a couple like that, and I really didn't like them. I try to keep my videos, down as much as I can, but I also like doing my videos in one part. So I just don't want to keep y'all watching stuff all night. I'm sure most of you are parents or have other things that you need to do, want to do. And I appreciate you being here with me and taking the time out of your day to do this stuff with me. So I don't want to keep you here longer than what I would have to. If that makes sense. So the next technique that I'm going to show you right here is what I call the outline method. So this is where you could outline your pictures. Again, you could do this either with the chisel or with the nib tip or brush tip, whichever one you have on your marker. Works both ways. And basically all you're doing is creating an outline, because when you create an outline and you just go up to that outline, there's going to be no way that you're going to have bleed over. Now, the one thing that I find wrong with this method, and maybe it won't show up on this leaf here because it's a small little leaf, but I find that you could go back and your outline would be a different color. So kind of like this green up here. As you could see, I colored it and I colored over it, and it is much darker. I find that sometimes that's how it kind of seems when you do the outline method. That's just in my personal opinion. I know a lot of people love the outline method. I am one who does not like the outline method. I used to color with outlines. I'm going to do an outline again. I used to color with outlines when I first started coloring, and then I just found that I didn't like it. But if it's a small area like his feet or like his beak here, I don't see Like if it's a super small area, I don't see the problem that I see if I do the outline method on a bigger area. So I'm gonna go ahead and color this in. Sorry, this orange is about to die on me. Kind of makes me sad. But on the plus side, I've had my Cali Arts for a really long time, and I color quite a bit with them. So this is only like the second marker I have that's going dead, so I'm not too upset about it. And I haven't tried to revive them with the alcohol either, so there's that too. All right, so there we go. Outline method, continuous line method, that's what I'm going to call that one. The next method that I want to show y'all is, let's see, we won't do the purple yet, is the little circle method. Now, what I do for the little circle method is I literally just make little circles throughout the whole piece I'm coloring, but when I get to the edge of what I'm coloring, I tend to do much lighter pressure than if I was in the middle. And I just keep going in circles. I find that circles, you don't end up with lines if you do it fast enough. And the good thing about circles is you're continuously moving your marker, so it's not going to soak up, you know, a whole bunch as if we were just to place our marker there and just like let it sit there and sit there and sit there. I find the circle method really good for little teeny areas like this little eyebrow right here, but you could also do it with big areas too. Here I'm going to do it with the chisel method, doing the same circle method with the chisel tip. Keeping an eye on that camera because I don't want to lose footage again. And like I said, another tip that I do is when I'm doing the circle method with a chisel, when I get to the edge, not only do I lighten up my pressure, but I also turn. So as you could see, I'll try to do it slower. I turn to the point of my marker. So right here, I'm going to turn to the tip side of my marker, continue with my little circles, and then flatten my marker back out. I find this is really helpful. So there's the circle method. I really am a big fan of the circle method, especially if I'm coloring a big area with my chisel tip now that I'm trying to figure out my chisel tip stuff going on. So the next method I'm going to show you is what I call the flicking method. So for the flicking method, we're going to do it down here. I take my chisel tip or my nib tip, whichever one, and I just make little teeny tiny strokes, lifting up my marker from the paper every little flick. And that is also a good way to avoid overbleed and cover a big surface area, especially if you're using the chisel tip. Now, like I said, I'm not putting much pressure on my marker at all. This is my preferred method to coloring. I really like the flicking method because I could do the flicking method pretty much any way I want to. Left, right, up and down, diagonal, whatever the case may be. And then another little tip for you. Now, this ain't the part that I colored right here. I colored this one down here. I just want to make that clear to y'all. Is if there's a spot that's white, like in this tip that I missed, I just turn my marker over to the smallest nib and just dot it until it fills in the area full of color. So again, I'll show you the flicking method right here. The flicking method right here on this little wing. Sorry I made this this video so colorful. I wanted to show you easy things so it's not like the same color. Here I am doing it with the little nib. I do prefer, if I'm going to do the flicking method, to use the chisel tip because, like I said, if you're doing a big method like this, as far as time goes, it's better to use the chisel. But I just started practicing using the chisel, you guys, in the Advent calendar coloring book that I did. Before that, I never ever use the chisel, but I'm really trying to become a good solid colorist with my chisel as well, because in big areas you could cover a lot of surface area in a little bit amount of time with it. Next tip, this is a personal preference. You could always turn your work. Now, I don't really like to turn my work because I find that if I'm watching somebody turn their work, I tend to get dizzy, and I don't like that. But some people don't mind if you turn the paper. Some people, it really bugs. It doesn't bug me. I'm just going to color this side of the hat with the line method. I'm going to do it with the little tip so y'all could see. You could do it with the little tip, just as easy as you could do it with the big tip. And you could actually cover a good amount of surface area doing this as well in a good amount of time. And you'll get a pretty solid line. Now, please keep in mind, you guys, that this isn't really expensive paper. This is just out of a kid's coloring book. That's why there's the little holes in the eyes, because it came out of my son's googly eye coloring book that he got for Christmas. And again, if there's spots you don't like, go back and dot them. So there's that. And then the next part that I'm going to show you guys is this purple here. And this is when I'm going to show you another method that is possible. If you don't like any of the other methods and you just want to just color, a really good rule is don't go all the way to the edge. If you don't want to bleed over, don't go all the way to the edge, and as you could see, the color will fill out to the edge. As you could see here in this picture. I'll do it again. And if you watch right here, the color will start to fill out. And if it doesn't fill it out all the way, go back, just dot it in, and you're good to go. But for a good portion, it will fill it in. See how much closer that became, even with me not touching my marker there? So another really good tip is to do not color all the way to the edge. And that could go with every single method that I've shown you so far. And again, miss a spot, go back and put a dot. The dot you will not be able to really see in the whole of the picture. I'm just looking at my camera, making sure we're still going good. I'm sorry that this lighting ain't the best, you guys. I'm not sure what I could do to help that. I just got a new, I do plan on getting better lights, but I just got a new desk in my room finally from me sitting on my bed making all my videos. So I just stole a lamp that I have around the house to just put right here for now. I do plan on fixing my lighting, so if you have any suggestions on how this lighting can be fixed, please put them in the comments, because I would really like to know what your guys' thoughts are, how maybe I could fix this little problem, because like my desk ain't an open desk, like we're in a little cubby right now, because that's just how my desk is. So please, if you have any tips on lighting, please leave them down in the comments. And while you're down there, I am always trying to improve my channel. So if you guys would please leave in the comments what you like, and maybe something that you would like changed with the channel, I would really appreciate it. At the end of the day, these videos are all for you guys, and I want you guys to have the best possible a vantage point that you can. So please leave it down in the comments. I'm always willing to try new things, different things to help improve the quality of my videos and the quality for you viewers at home. So as you can see, this picture is completely done, and by using those few methods that I told you about, aside from the blotting technique, don't do that on your color page. And make sure if you put on another color page that you have a blotter page. You could see how you went from kind of this muddled, metally mess over here to a very crisp and clean coloring page here. There is no bleed over on this side. So, yeah, if you guys like this type of content, please like and subscribe. And if you subscribe to the channel, please hit the little notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. Until next time, bye guys!